Okay, perfect. I see some nods. Recording is in progress. We're in. I wanted to welcome everybody. Thank you so much for being here tonight. I'm James. I am one of our poetry editors here with the Adroit Journal, and we're gathered to celebrate our winners from this year's Gregory Djanikian Scholars in Poetry. I am so excited and thrilled and honored to get to introduce these six wonderful writers who we'll be hearing from over the next hour. And in that same vein, I'll kind of get out of the way pretty quickly here at the start. Um, Last night we celebrated our winners on the prose side of things, our winners for the Anthony V. Nassau Scholars in Fiction. And I was still thinking about a comment that was made by one of our winners, Courtney Bill, before she read from her short story. She kind of talked about the writing process and that she wanted to write about these two really different things at once. She wanted to write about what she'd been writing about for a long time, which was early love between women, but then also writing through the experience of grieving after the death of her brother. And those two themes that seem so different and disparate, she felt like the story neither one kind of occluded one another, but rather they were kind of concomitant and really needed each other in the story. And I couldn't help but think about how that's kind of like what Adroit does in this wonderful way. It's like brings all of these disparate things together and houses them, whether it's in like a single piece or from each of our writers who come together from all different corners of the world at all different stages in their career, emerging and established alike. And it just to be a literary citizen alongside the Adroit Journal, whether it's our readers, our writers, our masthead, is a huge honor and privilege. And thank you guys so much for being here tonight to celebrate that. And in that similar vein, I just wanted to put it out there that Adroit is a nonprofit organization, and we are always accepting donations all throughout the year. I think we're going to go ahead and put that link in the chat. And so if you happen to be able to make a donation or know anybody who can and can spread the word, um, that is something that really helps Adroit. So thank you so much. And with that being said, without further ado, we're going to dive into our reading. We're going to go in alphabetical order by last name, which means that we're going to be starting with Nico Amador. I'll put the bio here. Nico Amador is a writer, educator, and community organizer from San Diego, currently based in rural Vermont. Amador's writing has recently appeared in the LA Review of Books, American Poetry Journal, West Branch, Pleiades, and 44 Poems on Being with Each Other, a Poetry Unbound Anthology. His chapbook, Flower Wars, was selected as the winner of the Anzaldúa Poetry Prize and was published by Newfound Press. He holds an MFA from Bennington College and is a 2025 to 2026 Emerging Artist Fellow at the Fine Arts Work Center in Provincetown. Everyone, please join me in welcoming Nico.
Thank you so much. And congratulations to the other scholars. I'm just so truly honored to be part of this group and in the company of so many beautiful writers who are published with Adroit, one of my favorite magazines going way back. So thank you for having me. I'm going to read three poems tonight. All are from a current project that I'm working on that's exploring the idea of boyhood from a trans perspective, and the ways that queer adolescence isn't a linear process, but something that I think often goes through a lot of iterations and experimentation in different ways with identity. I'll leave it at that. But that's kind of the themes that I'm working on right now. So the first two are the ones that will be with Adroit, and then the last one is a brand new one. Study number one. How can I explain it? I made myself into a deer, a disappearance or no, a leaping antonym. Anonymous prince, I'm poised here, arranging my crown, learning the parts of an antler, tine, beam, pearl, pale as a neck, ornamental, a vision separate from the body and the whole that completes its description. There's so much contained in this form I don't recognize. I have to throw myself against the moon to see my silhouette, give it definition. The moon, a made thing too. I teach it to sing behind everything dark and apparent, obsession framed inside a paper field, the figures called to its edges, lyric scent marked, declarative. Do you follow? I'm tracing the lines around my own head, my torso, my legs, the light touching and erasing what I ask. Language bends like a staircase. The night turns over, chases me from the shadows, fresh with awareness, the markings of a common prey. Study number 5. Seeing one up close, more defined than in the momentary impression, the little window we're permitted through a flash in the headlights, I understood it differently. The deer was strange. He had a soft face, haloed in white fur, a neck that lengthened into a question, and his antlers, not as I'd have drawn them, their shape rounder, almost maternal. Behind us, corn stalks rattled and hushed. His gaze lifted, the skin under his ribs twitched. The deer was a mirror, every detail suddenly large and immediate. The narrowing days funneled us toward more exactness, this encounter at the center. Remembered another way. He lifted my shirt. The room swelled. Above us, doors rattled and shut. A clamor hushed. I felt his hand slip under my chin as the other pulled my belt away. With the lights on, seeing was like shouting into an avalanche, that intense and total, undressed details suddenly large and few. He touched my ribs, shifted the balance of our weight so I could watch myself beneath his fingertips. My hair, the only dark, muscle, definition. It was strange, knowing he saw a shape different than I'd let myself imagine. I reveled in that exactness, turned toward his mirror. Behind us, the field was a changing torch. All right. Last one, a little more playful. I always feel nervous reading a brand new poem. I usually let it sit for a while. But this one felt timely and one I wanted to share. The safety and dreams of children. I love the names I gave myself, that I remember. Hated every shirt with sleeves, liked grinding the pointed end of a stick into the dirt while waiting for the engine sound of the afternoon bus. Liked ditches, delighted in fairies, didn't ponder much beyond that. Wanted to be left to chew the honeysuckle that bordered each school year, to draw on my skin with a gel pen or crawl into a concrete storm drain. If I'd confessed more, maybe a parent would have moral panicked me, thrown girl colored paint the way protesters do on fur coats and war criminals. Shout the word disorder, suddenly everyone is an office manager partitioning dreamscapes into cubicles. I'm still waiting for the legislation that could have converted or reversed the weird lyric in me. At what age would I have claimed congruency? When I was younger, I thought I'd grow up to live underwater. I thought I'd own a villa singing with tropical birds. My future name would be Cody. My husband's name would be Pink. Thank you.
Nico, thank you so much. That was amazing. I'm going to be spending a lot of time thinking about the weird lyric in me, trying to find it. Thank you so much, Nico. And Next, our next reader is going to be Ellie Black. Oh, perfect. Thank you. Ellie Black is a visiting assistant professor in English creative writing at Hendrix College. She received both a PhD in creative writing, emphasis in memoir and auto theory, and an MFA in poetry from the University of Mississippi. A finalist for the 2025 Disquiet Prize in Poetry, her work has been published in or is forthcoming from Bennington Review, Sixth Finch, The Common, Washington Square Review, The Drift, and elsewhere. Her debut collection, Revelator, received the 2026 APR Honickman First Book Prize. Ellie, thank you so much.
Thank you, James. Amazing. I am so grateful to be here. I am so thankful to get to read alongside such incredible poets. I did want to talk for a second about the fact that it feels so meaningful to be receiving this recognition from Adroit. I have sort of a long-standing, very meaningful relationship with Adroit. I was originally a poetry reader in college, and I was a semifinalist for the Adroit Prizes also in college. I was encouraging some of my students at Hendrix to submit to the prizes last week, and I realized that I'm the only student from Hendrix who has ever placed. And I was like, I want to get some more Hendrix names on this list. So that was a fun moment, and that was a touching moment to be able to realize, like, oh, I am returning home to Adroit for this reading. So that feels very, very nice. I'm going to be reading for you the three poems that I'm having published in this issue, which are also all from the collection Revelator. And if you happen to be subscribed to the Copper Canyon mailing list, then you received an email like 45 minutes ago that has my name in it, which is really cool. So yeah, I hope you like these poems. Okay. The History of Sexuality. In the beginning, there was the pornography of the morbid. In the beginning, there was the technology of the flesh. In the beginning, I knew what to call myself, a capacity taken from me by language. In Babylon, everyone thought they knew what was up, but now they all seem pretty stupid, don't they? Once the body was built from nothing. Once the body was built out of falsehoods. In the beginning, I removed my arm to make room in my body for desire, but eventually it grew back, so I left it there. In the beginning, everyone watched me tie myself off at the stump, and that was called fetishism, and actually, it was pretty bad. Once pervert actually meant something. Once meant something actually meant something. In the beginning, I knew what it meant, a capacity taken from me by language. This poem is called The Lyric. It is or isn't raining. There are flowers or there aren't. It happened or it didn't in the archive of my heart. I listen to the sound created by the absence, all the empty space where poetry is supposed to happen. I imagine filling it with myself. I imagine the self that I am, and that I can describe that self to you here, now, that when I say I, you understand what to look for, or not to look at all. To insist on one's own existence is an act of desperation, but so is acting like no one could reach you, like there's nothing to reach. I save up all my epiphanies. I give myself over to the signifier, signified be damned. I let the stand in for me. You find me not so easy to pin down. And this is my last poem in the issue. It's called The Confessional. I till the land of myself. I land myself the role of me. I stand in the way of myself. I weigh myself. By way of myself, I sand myself down. I drown myself and watch myself drown. I roll myself up a hill. I frown and erase myself, redraw myself, revise myself. I revive myself and start again from the beginning. I perform myself. I mourn myself. I spite and spurn and scorn myself. I ride the carousel of myself and can't get off. I only care about myself. I doubt myself, but cart myself around. I can't recant myself. I chant myself, change, rearrange myself. I estrange myself. I leave myself. I don't believe in myself. I'm self-agnostic. I accost myself. I cost myself. I prognosticate. I off myself. Reader, to you, I sell myself. I self myself with a hammer until you get it. Thank you very much.
Ellie, thank you so much. Loved getting to hear those, my word. And next up, our next scholar is Nina C. Pelias. Nina C. Pelias is a writer based in Maui, Hawaii, where she is associate director for the Merwin Conservancy, the former home and 18-acre palm forest of poet W.S. Merwin. That is so cool. A Best New Poets and Best of the Net nominee, her work appears or is forthcoming in The Atlantic, The Poetry Foundation, Iowa Review, Prairie Schooner, Narrative, Poetry Northwest, The Offing, Rattle, Pleiades, and Electric Literature, among others. She has received Prairie Schooner's Glenna Luce Award, Radar's Kniston Prize, a Barbara Deming Memorial Fund grant, and the Walt Whitman Birthplace Association Gwen A. Nussbaum Scholarship, with residency scholarships and fellowships at Yaddo, Tin House, Tupelo Press, and Key West Literary Seminars, among others. She holds an MFA from Bennington College, mentors for the Adroit Journal, and is at work on her first book. Please gather me in welcoming, please welcome me and please gather. I don't know. Let's give it over to Nina. Amazing.
Thank you. Thank you all so much. James, thank you so much for facilitating this. And it's such an honor to be here among such an extraordinary group of writers. Thank you to all who are joining. I want to just say what a joy, in Ellie's footsteps, also just what a joy it's been to have a multifaceted relationship with the Adroit Journal, having served as a mentor previously and continuing that work. This is an organization that just does such amazing things for writers, and it's been beautiful now to be also recognized in this way. So really, really grateful. I am going to read three poems today. The first of which is part of the what's coming out in Adroit. But the other two also, these are all three poems from the project I've been working on, which explores, is really rooted in my experiences of adoption and cultural displacement, and explores inheritance, absence, nature, and nurture. And all of these poems that I'll read all take place really in the neighborhood that I grew up in, South Brooklyn. So if there's anyone out there from New York, actually, my parents are here, so just want to also thank them for all of their beautiful everything, for everything. The first poem I'm going to read is, it's called Birthday Haibun, and the haibun is a traditional Japanese poetic form that blends prose, poetry, then with haiku at the end. And this poem is written after both a painting by the surrealist artist Dorothea Tanning, which has the name Birthday, and it's also after a dream I had that while my parents were in the midst of packing up and moving out of my childhood home. So it's a little context, but this is Birthday Haibun. I move through the house my parents built. I am looking for the source of smoke. The house has many doors. They stretch behind me like a hallway of dark mirrors. At my feet, a little terror I call my pet. He doesn't leave my side, so I name him Grief. I feed him scraps of meat I keep tucked between my breasts, but he is never satisfied. We go to the kitchen first. Unwatered money plant over the sink wilting for luck, pantry piled high with expired cans of beans. The walls drip with yolk in places where long ago my mother threw them. Yellow pools smiling like happy suns against the laminate. Grief laps the edges, gets what he can. When I go to all the rooms where I tried to be worthy of love, I pick up the pace. Behind the room where my mother taught me the word no, a laundry room where at 8 a neighbor's son forced her to her knees. A few rooms down from that, the bedroom where I left the lesson, my mother out at the bodega buying milk. When I find the room filled with my father's language, it is almost empty. Only a lamp flickering with the burst artery in my abuela's head. A bird outside squawks, "Speak English, lady." I shut the door, but the sound bleeds through. I rush down a vestibule hung with a warped Picasso poster of a hand clutching a bouquet, family photographs with faces I don't recognize. I open the door to a room made for dancing where no one has ever danced. My father's ventriloquist doll atop the piano, named for my dead abuelo. In this house, I am the only living thing left. Windowsills filled with my uncle's cigarettes. Behind the door, bootstraps, but no more boots. All around, piles of paper, a box labeled shame. I rummage through looking for the jute pouch that kept my father's cross, but instead pull out a manila envelope filled with baby teeth. At the center of the room, a hatch. I pry it open. Beneath the bowels of the house stretch for what look like miles. At the center, flame. I try to blow the candles out, but my lungs aren't strong enough. I bribe grief to join me, and we huff and puff to no avail. Grief peers over the edge, widens his yellow eyes, and I know I have to reach into the fold. I lean in, stretching as far as I can go. The fire chars my arm in circles like a marshmallow on a stake. I shut the door. Grief passes me the match already burnt. I swallow it and leave the house to smolder, carrying grief out with me, tucked tight beneath my smoking arm. I remember I am the flame. Thank you. This next poem is called Gravesend, titled after the neighborhood I grew up in, for those who might know it. At second grade assembly, the historian clarified, the neighborhood wasn't named for the graves. Despite their ubiquity behind the furniture warehouse under the L, plots so overgrown you could barely see old worn stones peeking from crabgrass gone to seed. Still, the streets were full of ghosts, eating greasy pizza by the slice or smoking outside gray snails on McDonald Avenue, unfazed by the rattle of train tracks above, floating in the fumes. On the best days there, you could smell salt wafting down from Brighton Beach after dark when the damp sky hung level with graffiti-covered street lamps like sheets strung out to dry. On the hour, bells rang from the old church, the last beautiful thing left from long ago.
Are they all American or Canadian?
I think they are, yeah.
Oh, I think someone else is audible. Let's see. Is that okay? Can everyone hear me okay? Okay, I'll continue. Maybe I'll just start from the last stanza. On the hour, bells rang from the old church, the last beautiful thing left from long ago. Through a chain-link fence we shared, my father passed the pastor his tomatoes, grown up in makeshift cages made from PVC pipes. We never went inside, despite the invitation to be saved. As a child, I played with ants in the cracked asphalt, counted pairs of sneakers tossed on wires, and when I'd ask my mother, what was that sound, her reply was always so assured. Firecrackers, or a car backfiring far away. The morning the man down the street shot his wife and then himself, she hesitated only momentarily. Gravesend, at the very end of the alphabet, where the train always pulled up empty, cars circled by gulls, I wanted so badly to be angels, and my mother down the steps, arms heavy with groceries, waiting to be sure I made it safely home. Thank you. And there's just one more shorter one. This is syncretism. My father does not believe in God or therapists. Instead, he pedals his bike past Brighton Beach to the Coney Island Y to swim his 50 laps. Once I went with him and watched as he emerged from the locker room in faded swim trunks. Moving slowly to the edge of the pool, he paused, lifting his hands over the gray halo on his chest, pressing his palms together in a gesture I know he learned as a boy. My father's eyes, devout with a darkness he keeps buried deep inside, where it glows hell-hot as the ember from the cigarillo his father, a womanizer, drunk, half asleep, dropped on the sheets, setting the bed ablaze, and even though extinguished, kept smoldering invisibly inside the mattress springs, reigniting, sending the house up in smoke a second time. So my father's anger burns, a blood-wicked flame, scorching the softest parts of his interior until it rages through the house, blackening the rooms again. Even in the absence of ideology, I am trying to learn forgiveness. I watched my father's body breach the air for just a moment before he dove, disappearing beneath the surface. Steam coiling through the chlorinated room. The ripples his body made still reached me on the other side. Thank you so much.
Nina, thank you so much. That was incredible. Our next reader is Talan Tee. Talan Tee is a Taipei-based poet born in Phoenix, Arizona. His work appears or is forthcoming in the Adroit Journal, Chestnut Review, Cleaver Magazine, and West Trade Review, among others, and has been recognized by the Young Arts Foundation and the Scholastic Awards. A 2026 Adroit Janikian Scholar and an Anthony Quinn Scholar, he is the founder of Afterbodies, an international literary magazine. Talan is a sophomore at Taipei American School. Please go
Hi,
ahead.
thank you, James. I'm so happy to be here today, and thank you all for coming. Today, I think I'll be reading two poems, one of which is forthcoming in Adroit, and another of which I think kind of ties together the overarching theme of the immigrant experience in America, specifically Asian Americans. So, without further ado, this one is titled Combinatorics. Taipei, Taiwan, 15 July 1987. Martial law was lifted island-wide after 38 years of the White Terror. Yuan, one of 10,000. Freedom began with a crack of lightning, tile striking tile, swimming arms synchronizing sweeps to reset the surface. Grandma's mahjong games, rebuild her universe in fours, east wind, west wind, air imbued with camphor and tiger balm each shuffle. Nowadays, the men gather silently. It begins with a single flick of the wrist onto the noiseless felt, the unavoidable descent into the table's green marrow, one of the plastic chairs. Grandma points at me and counts 1 of 10,000 of the lucky bastards who got out. These tiles are more than tiles. They are unmarked bones scattered across Green Island, beneath makeshift trees and footstones. How can a tile or two not go missing? Artiao, 2 of bamboos. 2 green stalks, vertical as bars. My uncle takes a seat to deal me in. A pair of red packets, clotting like blood, filling my pockets, coaxing me into this hidden room. Under the window's shuttered eyelids, neighbors vanished, seats overturned. The elmwood legs set with rigor. Every morning, Grandma swept the parlor clean. Back in her country, she says, we revered the dead. But I brought pennies, American currency, now discontinued. They doubled as souvenirs. In the old newspapers littering her tatami, off-coast lighthouses rise and I can't read the Chinese enumerations. I fold, paper boats float them down the strait. The ones who hid didn't get lucky. They just got quiet. Sanbi, 3 of circles. Now 3 players await a fourth. The fourth never arrives, a mouth suspended. The generalissimo, long dead, his face braided into the auspicious clouds, bloating the tablecloth with breath. We play on anyway. His jester face hangs in every schoolroom, playing death tolls in typhoon eyes, holding lucky numbers. We play find the body by chance in the river, pockets full of pennies, body to ballast, the river god gagging on its bribe, washed ashore post-typhoon. Soldiers stuffing boys into matrices. Grandma minting Japanese lacquer, recounting the years. Fear always returns to chase its losses. Tile by tile, we optimize sparrow warfare in quartets. I count them. Plum blossom concealed in my hand. God, I'm winning and want so badly to lose. Okay, this next poem is called Creek Country, and it's a little reflection that I wrote on. I think it's more relevant right now because of all of the things that have been going on, especially regarding immigration, and I feel like this is kind of my response to that. Creek Country. My summer leaks from the white ceiling. Ma clutches her booklet high to keep it above the arrest around our legs. Condensation beads the consulate. What is the purpose of your visit? For staying, try. For my frog boots, their little inquisitive eyes blinking mud onto the blue carpet. For the frogs existing only on paper, their wells slowly filling. Across the hall, a stack of papers fall, startled and scattering, like the minnows I used to catch with Ba. The man stutters in Spanish for gathering them. Security ripples our reflections as they escort him away. How long do you intend to stay? Until we can no longer breathe, until the nibbling at my feet becomes too much to bear. But Ma has already gone into the waves. I do have family here. Her voice barely reaches shore. They might not be too much further. As I plant my frogs in the blue sand, I release the officer's question back into the sky because I don't know. But he is not asking me. I skip creekstones the way other fathers taught their children, to watch mouthfuls of smoke rise from their dinners, still steaming in foil, hot dogs, and corn. America, like this. On this chair where I line frogs for inspection, the first droplets blink them awake into citizens. The officer is speaking, but he is muffled. Words crest the surface. Declare your proof of aforementioned relationship to. I wade into the shallows, skip stones, far enough to be American. Thank you.
Oh, Talan, thank you so much. That was incredible. Um, all right. Our next scholar is Priscilla Wathington. Priscilla Wathington is a Palestinian American poet, editor, and the author of the chapbook Paper and Stick. Her poems have appeared in Prairie Schooner, Adi Magazine, Gulf Coast, Michigan Quarterly Review, Salamander, and elsewhere. She was a Sam Maza Writer-in-Residence at San Francisco State University's Poetry Center in 2024 and a Tin House Scholar in 2025. Alongside Zaina Hashem Beck and Arwa Alsamare, Wathington is co-founder of the Bay Area Swana and Friends reading series, Samar. Wathington holds an MA from Georgetown University and an MFA from Warren Wilson College. Welcome, Priscilla.
Thank you all. Can everybody hear me? All right, great. Thank you so much for this just incredible, beautiful spot of joy of coming together tonight, and for the chance to join this rich tradition of scholars. It's really just a huge honor. So much love and big-hearted hugs back to Adroit for making this space and this community that we've all been connected to and drawing from in all of these different ways. So I know that that is long and often unrecognized labor. So thanks so much to you, Chris and James, and everybody else who is a part of making that happen and making tonight happen. So thank you so much. Just incredible readings tonight. Thank you to all of my fellow scholars tonight for your rich, rich readings. I will be looking up more of your work, and I can't wait to spend even more time with your work in the journal. So I'm going to read just the two poems that are coming out in this forthcoming issue, and I'll try to keep my comments very brief. But the first poem comes out of the ceasefire efforts that were taking place in many cities, but out of the particular ones taking place here in Daly City, in my city, and the experience of giving public comment. It was a very tense atmosphere. Somebody attacked my son, and there was just all kinds of tension as we were trying to just go and give 1 minute of statement supporting ceasefire. So this poem is called Daly City Council Meeting, Item 16. And we are not here to be spice on this bland earth, not to throw fists, and not because we are descendants of this language, although we are its inheritance, its kingdom come. Not to be photographed, although we say what we say in public. 1 minute or less to be for or against fire. 1 minute to say, have you seen the mothers cradling their daughters in a field of white bags? 1 minute to say, holy city, all of us here in the folding chairs, surrounded by a choke of police. We, the syllables that come up for air at the podium. We fragment and em-dash the best we can before the council's golden seal. Whereas 290 buses full of school children bombed. Whereas my brother spilled, my cousin of unknown status since Monday. Where, as if 2/3 of the city devoured by rocks. Be it further resolved, we'll walk these stairs in 2 weeks once more to wrestle with symbols and shrouds. Be it ourselves to enter into the record our love of the cessation of hostilities. Let it mark us like our fog, a vast cloud that touches the ground, salting, wetting every trembling mouth. And the second poem I'm going to read tonight, it's a bit of a longer one. It was originally published as part of this mixed media project by the artist Julie Rivera. I highly recommend looking up her work. She has this project called Look Again, Portraits of Daring Women. where she selects these kind of underknown women from the past whose stories never really got told as much as they deserve to be. And she makes these beautiful wooden portraits of them, and then she invites a poet to respond as well to the same story, the same person's inspiration. So thanks to Julie Rivera and Project Envoy for the original publication, and to Adroit for giving this poem more love and another place to live, another home. So as a bit of context, Karima Aboud, who this poem is after, was a Palestinian photographer. She was born in 1893, and her life kind of spanned this turning point between the Ottoman Empire and the British Mandate period. She ran a successful portrait and landscape photography business, opening multiple studios, and called herself the First Lady Photographer of Palestine. And she sort of stamped this inscription on all of her work, the First Lady Photographer of Palestine. So really cool person who inspired this poem. And at the end of the poem, there's also a couple lines that are in reference to the Palestinian novelist's work, Ghassan Kanafani's Men in the Sun. So this poem is called For Karima Aboud. Yours was a world all in its place. Your baby brother tucked into his mother's bed, like Galilee was tucked into her Palestine, with that faraway look in the eyes, asking all those questions of the mustache and the dove-necklaced dusk, the organ cooing night. There you are, in that unshaken globe, rising so light can find your arms, moving furiously toward the secret chamber of your camera. At 17, you looked where I looked and saw Beit Lahem painted slick with pink and soapy whites. No reenactors were hired that morning. The birds woke and found a sesame candy bar teeming with larvae. A shopkeeper's sleeves danced with pine-pricked light as he wiped the dust off a cup. Nothing held still but your finger choosing where to freeze the hour. 1919 Palestine, a silver life. Yes, we were acrobats standing on a bottle-propped chair. Shy young mothers of peach-cheeked babes with fine thread along our hips. Yes, we were peasants memorizing the beetles of the fields, old men breathless among Sebastia's columns. We were crowned Miss Palestine of Akka with pearls down to our waist, and we were barefooted teens pulling water from a Nazareth well with a half smile and a palm to shade our eyes. Yes, we were that perfumed city kid, briefly immaculate for you, our lady, our national photographer. But time rushed in, and when you took another picture, your baby brother had fallen from the bell tower, and there were soldiers grabbing a shopkeeper by his sleeves. And when you looked again, Zionists were photographing the planes, plucking postcards from apartments. Oh, photographer of the sun, after your death, we knocked on the water tank and suffocated among smugglers. Still, your camera returns us tall and tan, to our towns and our farms. Oh, we are the land's lavish fruits. That's it from me tonight. Thank you all for being with us.
Priscilla, thank you so much for those unforgettable poems. Oh my goodness. Thank you, thank you. I can't believe it. We're already at our final scholar. Our last reader is Ziyi Yan. Ziyi Yan is a student at Princeton University. Her work is published in American Poetry Review, the Adroit Journal, Quarterly West, the Harvard Advocate, Poetry Northwest, Rust and Moth, and Tinderbox Poetry Journal, among others. The founder of the Dawn Review, Ziyi was the 2024 to 2025 Youth Poet Laureate of Connecticut. Please give it up for Ziyi.
Hi guys. Thank you so much. I'm so excited to read, and it was so great hearing everyone else's pieces. I'm just gonna read my two poems in the issue. The first of which I actually wrote on an Amtrak about a year ago, and it was funny, I just took the Amtrak back to my house a few hours ago, so kind of a full circle moment. This is Close Reading after Adrian Rich. From moment to moment, sleet makes the dead air. I wait for each shiver of confession and its long ache. All day I ask nothing of the book, though it lay cold on my knees. I finger the waterlogged left hand and coax myself into its weight. There is no better way to deliver me. I used to uproot so much grass. I still want to lick the full back of the next train seat or finish War and Peace. The tracks have just been touched. Metal slides back under me, and I try to imagine a dying soldier under the infinite sky. Each time there is the same margin left, some small motion unaccounted for. I do everything too hard and don't know if it is any good. Someone changes seats to watch my reflection in the window, I think. I picture young lovers aligning their eyeballs to be exactly parallel. When I can't decide what the soldier's face looks like, I know for sure I will love him. After this, the river thins into itself. From nowhere in particular, gears crush themselves to motion. Russia, 1820. A live girl congeals into motherhood. I think real love strives for a definite shape. Hacked to death, the man's guts are unreadable as the rest of him. I am on the last train home, my mind in my hands, in tatters. I refuse to write about where I come from. The page is see-through, and I am always coming back. This is where he introduces the already lost battle. This is where it began to rain. I emerge as a neutered thing. The words barely touch. Over and over, I cut through without becoming, and bring myself into the same world, into a life I have unmade. And the next poem I'll be sharing is Like People. Um, I'm so grateful that this poem is being published with Adroit, because when I was writing it, I was like, I'm never gonna find a home for this piece. I literally worked on it for like 2 years, like every week. I remember I was actually in Hawaii, like living alone in Hawaii over the summer when I finished it. And the second I finished it, I was so like relieved and happy that I was just walking through the streets of Honolulu crying. And I think people thought I was a little bit of a crazy person. Um, but I'm very glad to be able to share it with you guys today. It's a bit of a long one. Like People. Yes, I have it all. Always a new poem, a bigger house. I am your only friend who can debone a leaf along its veins or drain a flower without breaking it. To unfurl a fist, I start by making a fist. I place my knuckles above yours, then pry inward, past your nails, past the pads of your fingers. This summer, your dad hit you until you hurled your whole room down a stairwell. I rub your scalp more and more gently, searching for a gap in your skull. Yes, I've had men before you. I felt my head rock off their shoulders as I fell asleep. At a store in Shensi, an apple tumbles into place. For hours after, women pass me to pat my thigh or offer another apple. Of course, I have my family's love. They shush each other by my door. Inside, I stop writing to take nudes. You scroll through my phone in bed. A cat grates too hard against the sidewalk. I have nowhere to put my eyes. The last time I cleaned my room, I remembered there's no such thing. We just relocate our filth. I scratch the last line of dirt into my nail, then scrape it on my teeth, then swallow. I don't think of how the poem will open. My great aunt could not walk. Her smaller toes bound, then paired off. I wrap my feet in a scarf to imagine how it feels, but only recall the unwinding. You stare down my nails until they look like a dead woman's nails. Yes, I am your only friend who looks nothing like their parents. By sunset, we break into backyards and bully children. Yes, I would take part in a hazing ritual, have spent the night pouring beer on shivering friends, knighting them with sticks, making them sing. In this house, my mom pinned me down and forced boxes of cream to my mouth, begging me to grow. I tell you about sobbing so hard my stomach kept its rhythm longer than the sound. Instead of wringing dry, my eyes splayed open. The world shot straight through. We watch a snake eat a full litter of rats to bid the poem come. After murder, she curls into herself, nest-like. I stare in the glass, in you. Could you join me in this prodding, awkward fury? I am no parasite, I'm already everywhere. Clusters of small holes in socks, in skin, the bowels, the stomata, the centers of most things are horrifying if you look close enough. I break my towel by squeezing too hard, and history is over. The continents stuck in their specific shape. Instead of a tunneled need, this flat space. Say, in the forest's open light, I become a crowd. With one hand, you climb my rib. In this house, I turn on all the sinks, which means nothing. I vacuum the rug apart and revise to nonsense. The snake yawns open. The baby gropes her throat for hidden light. The sun center is dark to our eyes. The nuclei swallowed to nothing. The inverse of dying is also like dying. At the end, I write the same line. With us, there is no center. Clenched to the screen, we swallow over and over. Yes, I am here before you. Take note of my curtains. The too wide window, the useless drawing and redrawing. On the floor, the sun is cut in equal blocks. Obviously, I am young. In an almost imagined hometown, I traced myself with every life I could find. I barely see bugs before killing them. My family knows every way of refusal. Some girls barely left the house. One sat so long a thin hair would snake from her chin before she got up. It takes years to realize this is also a kind of life. I was in the bath, shaking loose from an old body. I was watching rain blow slant against the window. Just as my hair shot down the drain, I felt so close to the poem. Is this what it means to finally know another? To pass things again and again without becoming them? After all this aligning, to find the right wall or person and walk straight through. Thank you so much.
See, thank you so much to walk straight through. What a wonderful place to end this incredible reading. Let's give it up again for our Djanikian scholars this year. To Nico, Ellie, Nina, Talan, Priscilla, and Ziyi. You will be able to see these poems in all their might and all of their beauty in our issue, which comes out, I believe, tomorrow, if not later this week, I believe tomorrow. So please make sure to check out that issue. And again, if possible, if interested, there's a link in our chat to make a charitable donation to the Adroit Journal. And just once again, I mean, I cannot thank everybody enough for being here tonight, our readers for joining from all over to be here. And hope you all have a wonderful rest of your evening. Thank you for joining us tonight. Everybody take good care. Shout out to poetry.